Welcome to another episode of the David Daily. I'm so incredibly excited to be here today. Look, if this is your first time joining the live feed, go ahead and drop your name in the chat. Go ahead and tell us where exactly are you tuning in from? And if this is your first time tuning in, this is the David Daily live show, and it's a live show focusing on LinkedIn, focusing on all the platforms. And it looks like we've got SS73 joining. We've got Tony. What's up, Tony? We've got lots of different people joining, and I'm just so incredibly excited to be here. Again, this is episode 4. Can you believe it? We've done 4 episodes a day, and we are now on the 4th episode. So if you haven't been live with us before, I just want to say that guess what? The LinkedIn live, the Instagram live, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. What's up, Shari? What's up, Fahad? We've got lots of people coming in. And if you're joining Vinod, good to see you here. Thank you so much. I'm so incredibly excited. We now have 10 live streamers, and we're actually on Kick as well. So if you're on the Kick platform, go ahead and drop your name. So the format of the show is so simple. We start with current news. And the importance of the current news is that every day we have new news coming through the pipes, right? And so when I think about the current news, I'm thinking about, okay, what is actually going to be relevant for you today, December 4th? And so we go directly into the ticker news. And today we actually see some really interesting things happening. So you can see actually free speech is being violated, and the New York Times is suing the Pentagon in the aspect of free speech. So in the United States, if you're located in the United States, we have this wonderful thing called free speech. It is a right of the people, and that is what gives me the ability to live stream on here and be someone who cares about free speech. MJ, good to see you. Thank you for joining in the chat. And that is an important aspect of what it means to be American. And furthermore, free speech is an important aspect of where we're based in the United States. And I would also say this too, that if you're based in New York City, like myself, or traveling full time, you'll have noticed that even at times there are opportunities where free speech is not, it is not saved, it is not respected. So the reason why I can be on here is free speech. Also, in other news, guess what? Alphabet's AI chip business nears $1 trillion. Can you believe that, Sherry? It's over $1,000. $1 trillion in market capitalization. What that means is that now Google, whose parent company is Alphabet, that's right, Alphabet, like ABC, is reflecting $1 trillion valuation in just their chip division alone. How incredible is that? It's pretty crazy. $1 trillion. And if you tuned in yesterday, what's up? Message with me. And what's up, Nancy? Good to see you on here. Diego, good to see you. So many good people here. If you're tuning in for the first time, go ahead and drop your city in the chat. Looks like we have people all over. We now have 26 people joining the live stream. How incredible. Love that. And so it is crucial to understand the AI chip business and the technology business. And that's exactly why we have that as part of our news segment. Now, third, Amazon may end up using their partnership with the US Postal Service and completely ending it. Now, if you've heard of Amazon, you've heard of Amazon Prime, maybe you're addicted to the buy now button, just like myself. But actually, what's interesting is that they may end their US Postal Service partnership, and they've had a long running postal ship partnership. What that means is that they would go in-house with their own platform. G, it's good to see you. Zoe, good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. How crazy would that be? No longer would Amazon be utilizing the US Postal Service in their last mile logistics. And guess what? That would force new distribution channels nationwide. Very, very interesting news piece. All right. The fourth big news piece is Dollar General eyes a 2026 expansion. Think about it. Americans are struggling today. We're looking for more ways to save money, to find good deals. And what better way to go shop at, guess what? You named it, Dollar General. In fact, despite consumer pullbacks in other sectors, value focused retailers will continue to outperform. So, if you're thinking about where to go shopping for Christmas, for the holidays, for Hanukkah, for any other experiential holiday that you're celebrating this season, check out Dollar General because more people in America are going to Dollar General. And then finally, to wrap up the news, we see that Sam Altman, one of the tech oligarchs in the United States, is actually exploring competing with SpaceX. This is so interesting because everyone wants a rocket company these days. Remember, there was a space race back in the day with the Russians, and the United States wanted to explore the space race with the Russians. And guess what? The United States won. But today, with all these tech oligarchs, we have another space race, and Sam Altman is actually exploring his next major venture, which would potentially be a SpaceX style aerospace competitor. And what this is doing is it's really signaling a move beyond AI and into the frontier of advanced hardware and space technology. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because if you're on LinkedIn, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on YouTube and this is your first time, please like this live feed. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit that subscribe and hit the notifications bell. You'll be able to see this live feed on your news every single day. If you're tuning in from Instagram, like Subhan, who just joined, or Rajput, who also joined on TikTok, thank you so much. We also see Barely Bear 72. Thank you so much for joining. Go ahead and post your cities in the comments. Would love to see exactly where you're tuning in from. So this is the current news section. I'm so incredibly grateful for the current news. And now the next segment is quantum topics. I'm wearing my Grow hat, which is a shout out to Clay. We love Clay. Clay's got a good a good AI base. And I'm just going to mute one of my speakers here. All right. So in quantum topics, yesterday, if you missed episode 3, that was the introduction to quantum. So the introduction to quantum is basically to say that we have superposition, we have entanglement, and we have interference. So if you're thinking about those 3 concepts, go back, watch yesterday's episode. It is going to show up for you. So anyways, I see Lanabelle09 is actually on the chat. So thank you so much. I'm just posting this on here to say hello and also that we are seeing you in the comments. So, Annabelle, thank you so much for joining. I'll just post a little comment here. And then, of course, we have Kyrie, we have Yadira, we have Sante, and of course, we have all the people watching on the live stream afterwards. Okay, great. We have commented in the chat. Awesome. Thank you so much. So yesterday for quantum topics, I just wanted to get back to the quantum topics, which is so important to discuss. So today, our summary is really to focus on quantum inspired algorithms. So let's go back into history real quick when you got your first computer. Do you remember that? Do you remember, chat, when you got your first computer, Kyrie? Do you remember when you got your first computer? Thank you so much for the gifts on TikTok. Really appreciate you. And guess what? That was a big box computer. It came in a chunky box. It came with a big CRT monitor. Maybe that resonates with you. I'll never forget when my father came home with a brand new personal computer, a PC. It was amazing. It was incredible. We got to play games on there. For me, it was IndyCar racing. I remember the first time I got behind the steering wheel and drove on my little race car. Well, what happens today is in data centers where all of the technology lives in the cloud, which is not in the clouds, but it is in warehouses and data centers across the entire world. We see that companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are building AI inspired and quantum inspired algorithms using classical hardware. Let me repeat that. The quantum inspired algorithms are using classic hardware. What does that mean? Good to see you, Pumbaa. Good to see Mr. Sniper's joining. We've got more people. Classic hardware means they're using the old school technology. All right. It's like, hey, you got an iPhone 10 sitting in your back pocket. Well, guess what? We can use that iPhone 10 with quantum inspired workflows. You don't have to necessarily get the iPhone 17 to do that. And so, Ashley Batson, good to see you on the live stream today. It is the current news, the David Daily, coming to you fresh and new every single day. So, what that means is that these algorithms are running on classical hardware, but they borrow ideas from quantum physics. Why? Why do we need to solve quantum physics problems? I'm glad you asked. And the answer to that question is straightforward. It's because it helps us solve problems faster. What that means is we can utilize quantum concepts like interference, like superposition, and like entanglement to solve multiple problems faster. And what that means is that today, guess what? That's exactly right. We can use the technology to optimize server placement, cooling systems, and energy distribution, which reduces power consumption and it's more sustainable for the environment. If you're watching this and you're younger than me or you're part of the younger generation, we care about sustainability. We care about social causes. We care about more causes than just the things that you might see tomorrow, right? We care about what impact does our footprint leave on us today. Isn't that right, Michael? Isn't that right, Osama? I see Osama Busalam tuning in. I see Lana still here. Thank you so much. Isn't it important to maintain a sustainable ecosystem? I mean, do you remember 5 years ago when we had 6 weeks to stop the spread? What I loved about that time, and maybe you can relate, is that we stopped the spread of carbon emissions in the world. The Amazon rainforest grew and grew. We saw us be able to take a breath of fresh air. We saw communities coming closer together with their family, their friends, their loved ones coming together as a unit. And so, if you're watching this, I implore you to think, what if every year we took 6 weeks for sustainability? We took 6 weeks for mental health. We took 6 weeks to stop the spread of toxicity of carbon emissions so that we can be more sustainable as a human race. Because at the end of the day, we are human beings, but in fact, we're spiritual beings living in a human body, in a human world. So I just want to say thank you to those of you who are listening right now. And I'm just going to say it is so good to see so many people in here. Thank you, 804. I see you. I see you, Deviant Lee. I see you as well, Kyrie in Espanol. Love Espanol. All right. So, getting back to these quantum topics, it is important to understand that even Amazon is utilizing quantum today for logistics and routing problems, specifically testing quantum algorithms. They're using a platform called Amazon Bracket. That's Braket. Hey, Anas, good to see you in the chat here. Thank you so much. And good to see you coming live on Instagram as well. So, Bracket is a platform that allows you to simulate quantum technology and quantum algorithms. So, in any early stage experimentation, it shows exactly how quantum computing may eventually help enormous global networks. You may know this, you may not know this, but quantum physics is very complex. And for optimization, it requires super, super cold temperatures. In fact, I think it's like negative 642 Kelvin degrees. I don't even know how cold that is. Maybe if you're in the Midwest or you're in the Northeast, or maybe you're just in Canada or in Antarctica, you know that it gets cold. There's a big cold front actually coming up. Good to see you, Putri. And when the cold front comes in, you know how cold that is. It might be 0 degrees Celsius. It might be negative 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you're ever experiencing cold, then you know that even at that temperature, it's very cold. But quantum qubits require much colder temperatures. Why? Because that's how you can freeze the particles from moving around, the particles that are kind of moving in the air. So as a result, quantum requires very cold. So today, the bracket platform, for example, requires you to simulate or plan for quantum workloads. Okay, the third key area of quantum topics I want to discuss as we're 15 minutes into this daily update. And by the way, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate the gifts on TikTok. So good. Love the gifts. Thank you so much. It's so good to see the hearts coming in. If you can, just tap the screen on TikTok. So, quantum hardware is really a big move. And we have three main leaders in quantum hardware. So, quantum hardware leadership, I want to highlight the top players in quantum hardware. So, we have Google, of course, with its Sycamore superconducting processor. What's up, Mian? They are the leader. All right. Secondly, we have IBM with a hybrid quantum classical system. You may remember IBM with the blue logo. They're one of the first PC computer distributors in the world. So incredible to have IBM at the top of the hardware charts. You may have heard of IBM Watson, which was their original AI supercomputer. And then third on the charts, we have Ion Q. And Ion Q has a high fidelity trapped ion qubits. So who knows what that means, but that is what IonQ is looking at, and they are focusing on the actual quantum technology itself. So why is this important to know in quantum topics? It's important to know because these companies are building the physical machines that will be required. Think about it like the iPhone 20 of tomorrow that will be required to work on all these quantum workloads. And that's why the physical workload really matters. And finally, we have why does quantum matter for data centers? It matters because as AI grows, we're going to see data centers face massive increase in energy requirements. And quantum technologies offer three main advantages, okay, with energy efficiency. First of all, better optimization. Quantum uses less power. All right, it's more sustainable, it's more efficient. Secondly, we have these new computing layers that are going to sit on top of the hardware. And on top of the hardware, the AI workflows and the quantum workflows can be more efficient. So, of course, we'll save waste. And then finally, we have the future integration with nuclear microreactors for stable power. All right, this is not a nuclear show. However, nuclear quantum intersection points are really interesting because that really is the next era of hyperscale compute. What does all this mean? This means that Google, IBM, and IonQ are going to be the main players in the quantum hardware space, which will be needed as we build all of these wonderful, beautiful workloads on quantum. And I just want to say thank you, Chase. Thank you, Athena. I see you in the chat, tuning in from New York City, from Los Angeles, from Dallas. I see you. Canada, I see you. Thank you so much for joining in the chat. So great. Now, the question that we're all asking with quantum is, and Bassett, good to see you as well. We're all asking this. What is the future of NVIDIA? What is the future of NVIDIA? The $1 trillion GPU company that's reached 5 trillion in market capitalization. What does that mean? Market cap means they are valued at $5 trillion in the New York Stock Exchange, meaning people have said we are going to invest into GPUs, graphical processing units, the thing you need to play video games, to watch 4K on your television, to get the streaming efficiency, to mine cryptocurrency. I mean, who knew that the GPU was going to be the most efficient processing technology hardware for hashing and cryptocurrency? I didn't know that. You didn't know that. The stock market didn't know that. So it's super, super interesting. Lana, I see you in the comments. Yes, you can absolutely ask me something. I love it. If you're in the comments, please post in the chat. We'll put your comments on and we can ask your questions, answer your questions at the end. So the final topic for quantum is NVIDIA's role is instead of actually building these quantum machines, NVIDIA has said that they will stay in their lane of building the infrastructure that connects, you named it, the classical to the quantum, right? The classical GPU hardware to the quantum processors that are the future of tomorrow. And their tools will continue to simulate quantum systems and prepare developers for this new hybrid computing world that we're going forward in. And so if you're thinking about, well, what does this mean for me? Great question. It means that exploring emerging technology and quantum will be necessary for the future. Isn't that right? Sir Kwoki Archer, I see inspirations in DM. I see Ananas, Bananas. I see David in the chat. Thank you, Jesse. I see Vinod and Fahim. Appreciate you joining the live stream on Click, on Kick, sorry, on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn and TikTok. And tomorrow we'll have many other platforms like Facebook and others. So the simple takeaways for the quantum topics is this: quantum technology is not replacing the cloud or data centers. In fact, it's simply augmenting them. That's the real key, right? We're entering a world where GPUs, quantum processors, and even nuclear microreactors are all going to kind of work together in this hyper efficient, scalable way. Why? Because we're utilizing more technology, massive explosion in data, and the price of technology is decreasing all of the time. In fact, the main takeaway is that quantum is no longer science fiction anymore, but it's quietly shaping the next decade of infrastructure. Isn't that right? User 15872487419. What a long name. All right, so with that being said, I was just going to say that concludes our quantum topics for today. I'm so incredibly grateful for you listening to Quantum Topics. And so the next portion of our show is AI and faith. AI and faith. I absolutely love this portion. So, guess what? AI and Faith is a nonprofit organization that I'm so incredibly grateful for. It is an organization that furthers the good news of faith and spirituality throughout the world, and it brings the world's wisdom together to build technology and forefront of emerging technology. And I personally volunteer with the AI and Faith community. If you would like to be part of the AI and Faith community, please drop a comment on this video. We'll get you plugged in so that you too can either become a member, or if you want to be a premium member, it's only $100 a year. And if you want to become an expert because you have thought leadership, then you can apply to become an expert, just like myself and many others who like to contribute and give back to the world and donate your time, your talent, your resources. But I don't need you to join AI and Faith if you don't want to. I just want you to tune in to the show tomorrow, because this is the David Daily Show, in case you're wondering. And that is my spiel about AI and faith. So thank you so much for listening to that. And then finally, we have my favorite segment, which is Beyond the Bag. Can you say Beyond the Bag? Anyways, Beyond the Bag is a segment of the show where I grab my backpack and I pull something directly out of my bag and I share it with you. So today, I would like to showcase the Rode microphone. So we're talking about this microphone right here, this microphone right here on my shirt. You can hear it. Hello, hello. This one plugged into my phone. Hello, hello. And the purpose of the Rode microphone, which is my favorite, I have one on USB-C and I have one on Lightning. So I got two Rode microphones. They're very small. You have a small little connector that goes into your device, and then you can have actually up to two microphones. And if you want to buy this, I can put my link in the chat so you can get it. The reason why I have a Rode microphone in my laptop bag, my backpack at all times is so that I can always record. You never know when you're going to need some high quality audio, right, Danny? You never know when you're going to need some high quality sound. And you can have the best video quality filming in 8K, 16K, 32K, 150, who knows how many thousand pixels, million pixels, trillion pixels we're going to get to. But if you have bad audio, guess what? No one will want to listen or watch your content. So that is why I'm a huge fan of the Rode microphone. And I'm such a fan that I got two of them, one black, one white. You never know when you're going to need a good Rode microphone. And it also comes with a little wind microphone so you can stop the wind when the wind is blowing in your face on the side of a mountain. And all of my content behind the scenes is filmed with high quality audio. So with that being said, I do want to shout out to Augusto, my good friend down in Colombia, South America, who was the very first person to announce that, hey, the focus of the microphone is really the most important piece of your podcast. So with that being said, I just want to close out this show. Our goal is to keep this short and snippy, getting those 7 minutes of news every single day in your inbox, on your feed. So please tune in tomorrow. I would ask you politely to subscribe to this channel. And more specifically, if you can tap the notifications to all at the top of the feed. So if you're on LinkedIn, that's going to be the bell icon. Please ring the bell. If you're on YouTube, then click on the bell icon and select all notifications. If you're on TikTok, then go ahead and press that button that says subscribe and follow David Goki. Of course, if you're on Instagram, you can follow and make me a close friend. And if you're on Kick, we would love to see you subscribe and join the feed. So I just want to say thank you so much. Tune in tomorrow where the David Daily will be live again. And we can't wait to see you on the David Daily Show. And by the way, if you want to be on the show, just give me a tag in the comments. Shoot me an email, david@gotech.ai, even a text message at 425-466-8650. Our team would love to have you on the show and sharing your quantum topics, your news, and your Beyond the Bag segment. With that, we will see you tomorrow. Over and out.